Three Rivers Archery, your longbow and recurve experts.
Today we're talking about how to determine your draw length. Now, draw length has a big impact on what your bow weight is going to be, and then on your arrow's length and arrow spine. Now, most adult bows are rated at a 28-inch draw length. This is just an industry standard for it, but if your draw length is different than 28, it's going to impact what the bow weight is. So a bow that is, say, 50 pounds at 28 inches will go up or down 2 to 3 pounds for every inch different from that. So if you have a 27-inch draw, you're looking at a 47 to 48 pound bow. If you go up, you're looking at 52 to 53 pounds. Now this will have an impact, one, on your holding weight, so your ability to shoot the bow, and also your arrow spine. And then obviously with arrow spine, it'll change because if you need to go a longer arrow, it's going to weaken the spine of that. You'll need to adjust the spine to correct it. And if you have a shorter draw length for a shorter arrow, you'll need to go with a weaker spine to make sure that as it stiffens up, as it's shorter, that it's tuned right for your bow. Now, for checking your draw length, let's say you have no bow to shoot off of, because that is the best method, is to actually draw on a bow. But if you don't have that, a few steps that you can do. One, there's the Wingspan Method, and that's where, using a tape measure here, you will extend tape measure out, and you want it to be comfortable, but you do want to make sure you're stretching the full length to it. Now, I know this is going to come up with 73 inches from where it is. Yep. And you divide that by 2.5. Now, I came up with 29 inches for my draw. I know my draw is to be right at 30 inches or just touch over it. So this is not an accurate method for doing it, but it puts you in the right ballpark. So I would know that, okay, I have a longer than average draw, and that'll impact that. Other methods that you can do, if you have a yardstick, I'm going to show it here with our draw check arrow, but a yardstick is great just because it's got the measurements and being longer. You're going to take the base of your yardstick or measuring tool, and then right there, right where the bone starts, go down maybe about an inch. This is about even with your shoulders, and then you extend your hands out. And I like to extend as far as I can, and then read where it is. And this, I'm at 30.5. Now, pretty close to accurate on there. It is going to vary with where you put it. So that's one thing that I don't overly like with it. Now, in how you draw in your shooting form will have an impact. If you're anchoring further forward, further back in your face, will be a big impact, which is why I like shooting on or testing it on a bow. Now, if you go into a shop, about any shop should have a draw check bow like this one. They're great. You do need to have someone to help you, or basically hold it and draw it to your anchor, and then someone else will read it what it is to the back of the bow, the furthest point of view. Now, only negative to these is usually they're very light in bow weight. Let's say this one's 20 pounds. I normally shoot 50. How your muscles are going to react to the bow are going to be differently at those two weights. You're going to be a little bit more compressed, usually shorter draw length with your actual bow weight versus what you'll draw on one of these. What I personally like to do with someone is if they're checking it, I have them draw it 3 different times and then take the average of that, with the longest being the most considerate to it of, okay, make sure your arrows are at least that, because your draw length can extend out to that. Now, the best way is if you can get your hands on a bow that is in the bow weight range that you are looking for, and then either an oversized arrow or a draw check arrow. Draw check arrows are nice because if you have other people that you're getting into the sport, it's a good thing to have on hand because it's an easy, best way to measure. Now, with that, taking my bow, let's say it's not a draw check arrow, but just a long arrow. You want to take something like a piece of cardboard. I'm using a business card here, and slide it onto the arrow shaft. Now, just kind of take an estimate of where you think it's going to be, because you want it to slide as you're drawing on the bow, but you don't want it to have to slide from all the way back just because it can allow for imperfections in the card and whatnot to show off with it. So just kind of guessing, let's say I didn't have the numbers here to measure on. I pick that there. And then what I do with this, depending on how your bow is designed, is I have to curl my fingers back to make sure it doesn't impact the card. And what you'll see here, when I settle into my draw, yep, 30.25. And I like to test that, same thing, run a few tests on it, and make sure that you're consistent in your anchor. And I like to keep arrows at least 1 inch longer than what my draw length is. So for this one, I might split the difference and go with a 31-inch arrow. Reason why is I want to keep the point, whether that's a broadhead or a target point, outside the bow, just for safety, and I feel good with it. But that will impact the spine. So it's the biggest reason why the first step you should do in getting into archery is to figure out what your draw length is, because it can impact all the rest of the parts to it. And that's it. Those are the best ways for determining your draw length. If you have any questions, please comment below. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you really like the video, please hit that share button to share with your friends and family. I'm Jonathan Karch with Three Rivers Archery. Thanks for watching.